man, I haven't went live on YouTube forever. Stuff has been totally wild and crazy lately. So, first off, before we get into kind of going over, I'm going to be going over answering some comments. If people have questions or anything, we'll do some Q&A while this and the family and the. Now, big reminder is January 5th, our training day, our GROW Comm training day. It's open to anyone, not just members here in Cape Coral, Florida. Super small group. It's going to be a really powerful time to grow your company, get some information, be around other entrepreneurs, really just learn and grow. And that's what's helped me. Honestly, what's helped my business the most is just learning and being around other people in events like that. See, I'm still trying to get things right. I'm not used to this going live. So check that out, jacobgodar.com. You'll be able to see the tab for the training day event. And if you're interested in that, you can see the cost, you can see everything to that and get involved. So let's get right into this. As people start to ask questions or stuff comes up on here, I can answer that, but I'm going to get right into some of the things that have popped up. It's crazy. I had so many comments about the testosterone videos that I've shot, because it's just something that, like, along the health journey, that's been something we've heard. So we just got so many questions about, and those videos have extremely blown up, or just been astronomical. Like, I think the first one has 11,000 views, and I know a lot of the stuff I talk to is like, no killer, all filler, or no, opposite. No filler, all killer, just straight business. And, the lawn care and landscape industry, that doesn't excite that many people, because it's not talking about mowers or this or that or the other. So that's something I go on for days about, the testosterone stuff. If anybody has questions on any of that, definitely ask, because that's something I love. I love talking about that. I love hearing about that and seeing what anybody's questions they have from my experience. But, I think this is something that I wanted to say that is really interesting to me. And hold on, excuse me, guys. I'm trying to figure out how to get the comments where I can read live chat, view all messages. Cool. Now I can read it all. See, I'll hop right back to these as these go. Hello to everybody that's hopped on so far. But I saw a really interesting thing, that it was a comment, and probably not everybody saw this, in a video where it talked about 25 lawns to $1 million in sales. And the comment was, so what do you think about all the guys that do free lawn care and taking videos of the whole thing to get paid from YouTube and views? And I just shot a podcast, and I think it's really interesting. Everybody's out in business, right? They're trying to make a business out of YouTube. I'm trying to make a business out of growing my fucking lawn landscape company and aggressively doing that. And then because if I share things that have helped us, it reinforces them for me. Anytime you teach someone else, it reinforces things for yourself and then helps other people. And karma is a really powerful thing. So to me, if you're trying to grow a lawn care business, I think it's fucking pointless. If you're trying to grow your YouTube views to get paid, which that's exactly what they're doing, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Then it's fine. So that was kind of my answer, but I wanted to kind of go back over that. Distinct Lawns, hello, sir. When is the group opening back up? That's opening up this week. I believe this Wednesday. So that's going to be opening back up. That's really exciting. That should be getting released with the information of the podcast, unless something changes. If anything changes, it's only going to move back to next week. So that is, or hold on, excuse me. See, that's how lost I am on time. Next week it's opening. The worst case scenario would move back one more week. So right around the corner, that's coming right around the corner. We're really excited to open that back up and be getting more people in there. Michael, hey Jacob, any experience of smaller company acquiring a larger one? 1 million acquiring 2 million. Awesome, man. Distinct Lawns, can't wait to have you there. Get more people in the group that want to shed the bullshit of all the Facebook groups and negative talk and all of this, and just talk and ask questions about business, and it being a really safe place to where all you're going to get is answers, because the only dumb question is the one you don't ask. That's super powerful. So can't wait to have you. As far as a smaller business acquiring a bigger business, I mean, I don't have experience doing that. I've acquired smaller businesses. And I have still acquired something sizable. We acquired something that did like 800 in revenue. If you can make it work, there's no reason not to. The only problem with that is if I acquire something smaller than me, I am by nature, because it's smaller than me, I'm already going to know how to run that thing, right? And it's already going to boost my revenues way up. So it's going to make the business more stressful anyway. Like, if you buy something that's bigger than you are already, you're already inflating your revenue, and you're going to be pushing yourself to a point where you don't have experience. So I think that's the true thing. You're not going to have experience in the area you go to. So honestly, when I bought the $800,000 business and it expanded us a lot, I didn't have experience in the new area I went to. So I had to have the confidence that that was going to happen. I had the staff, I had the people, I knew we were going to be able to make it work. I had a plan. It worked. It was hard. You're going to go from a place of where you're adding even more revenue, like say you do $1 million and then you add 2 million. Now you're in the 3 million land. 3 million land is different than 1 million land. If you're going to do it, you need people around you to help you get it set up right, because you don't want to take it all on and then lose it all, or not be able to foot the bill for paying whatever it is that you pay because you took on this big thing. So that's my input. It's going to take it's going to be a huge, massive undertaking. And it sounds to me personally a little bit scary, because I know it'd be pushing me way into an area I'm not comfortable with. But if the opportunity was priceless and you could get good consult, that's everything. Like, if you were able to work right alongside of me, like say if a brand new person was able to like get going, and then I was able to work right alongside them, they'd be able to run a company the way I can run a company, because I'm there helping them, assisting them, and guiding them like that. So you need somebody to help you if you do this. So numbers have got to be right. You need somebody to help you. And the numbers being right, that's the hardest thing in the business. People overvalue, they think it's worth too much. They think the multiples, and they've got this deal of, you get so excited because you've grown this thing, and you just value it so much because your blood, sweat, and tears is in there. And it's not to demean anyone, but a lot of times the value is not necessarily what they think it is. So that's the other thing. It's already going to be a challenge. You can't be buying it for top dollar and it'd be a challenge. You need to try to get the best deal you can and have the people to help you run this thing. I hope that answers that for you. I know that's kind of like a broad stroke at that question, and that's challenging, but it's going to be hard no matter what you do. So next, keep the questions rolling. I love the stuff that's going on. I'm going to get into more of these though, and I'm going to kind of go through some of the comments, like I said, that I've got on certain stuff recently. Cannot get over how much stuff has been like. I don't know how much you guys are interested in hearing about health stuff, or what your focus is on health. But if you want to hear more and more of that content, like that's a huge focus of my life now. Like I did 75 hard, and with racing and being competitive, health has always been a thing for me. But with doing that, realizing how much it related to business, I've never met one business owner that has started 75 hard and didn't say that was the best quarter revenue wise of their business. And once I realized that it was so in sync with how well you do, like your health and this ability to push and jam on a company, like I really, really, really started leaning into it. And so if people want to hear anything more about that, definitely let me know. Here's a question I want to answer in more for everybody to see. This is from Ezra. Hey, Jacob, thanks for the great content in talking admin work and trying to switch to a more robust software, right? So they're talking about wanting to have admin and wanting to talk about having a more robust software. I'm big on software. If you watch anything about us, you've heard me talk about it. At the moment, would you recommend Service Autopilot over Jobber? Looking to scale. So I originally got Service Autopilot because I wanted to grow the company. Service Autopilot runs a company freaking easy, like $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. It's been really easy to run the company. With that being said, I had Jobber before I switched. You need metrics to run a company. You need, and the reason I'm reading some of these comments and answering these again, even though I've answered this a little bit, is this pertains to everybody, and this is so much value to everybody. You need robust metrics to run your company. You need to be able to see what are your hourly, like what are we driving per man hour? Like first you got to know your numbers, then you got to be able to track your numbers to see if you're hitting your numbers. And this stuff is huge. So Service Autopilot gave me numbers where I never thought that like the metrics inside of Jobber just were never going to produce for me. The scheduling was not good enough. Like there were so many things that took so much effort that it just it wasn't the good fit for me. So if anyone is trying to grow their company, I think that an option like Service Autopilot's an awesome option. There's some other stuff out there. We've been looking at Service Titan. I've looked at every lawn and landscape thing. Like I've looked at Element for projects. I've looked at Aspire. A Boss is another one I'd like to look at. Like Element and Aspire, like none of that stuff worked out. It just didn't make sense. Like I've seen the stuff that Yard Books, like that would be a step back, or Yard Book. I don't even know how you say it. That'd be a step back from where we're at now. So with all this being said, like Service Titan and Boss are all even more expensive than it's much more expensive than the baseline ones we're talking about. And Service Autopilot's comparable to all this. What I hear that I think is so funny is people don't want to use Service Autopilot because they say, oh, it's expensive and I can't afford it. Well, if you this person plan to scale their company, if you plan to scale your company, like if it costs like $90 a month or maybe $120 a month for the cost effective version. If your time is worth $60 an hour, $70 an hour, that means it only has to save you 2 hours for it to be a positive ROI on your investment. And I promise you, if you're scrambling starting your business, even when you don't have many clients and you're using Service Autopilot, the invoicing, if you take the time to set it up, the invoicing, the scheduling, everything, it'll save you hours a week. The ROI will be huge and you'll grow your company more. So big deal there. Guys, as more people, everyone, as you come on, any questions, just throw that out there. I'll get to it as I'm kind of going through some of these. Love to hear what people have issues with, concerns with, or things that they just want to know about business, about life, anything going on. Okay, so we're off of the software kick, but now D. Smith asked a really cool thing. Would you be willing to share some data, lot, square footage, time to complete job, with what's this price? I would love to share that. The problem is that's so different. Like my equipment and my people versus whatever you have is so different. So if you're out mowing anything, just start tracking some of that. And the equation is, I wish somebody would have told me this when I started my business. So fixated on figuring out costs of things. Once you do the breaking down your pricing, like you figure out your hourly rate, which there's a bunch of things. You can do that inside of LMN. There's a budget tool on our website. There's so many different things that will help you figure out your hourly price. Once you have that, and then say you figure out by doing your own math and mowing some lawns, and you come up with like, obviously not every lawn that's 4,000 square foot is going to take the same amount of time to cut, because one's going to have a shit ton of stuff to weed eat around and one's not. This is going to vary wildly different on these properties, right? But once you figure out the time it takes to produce, then all you do is put your hourly rate against that. That's all that comes out to be. So those are super individualized numbers. They're super specific to your company, your crew, your equipment. Like if we mow an acre and I have a 100-inch mower and you have a 32-inch mower, like my numbers are not going to work for you because I'm going to outproduce you just tenfold. It's going to be insane. But pricing matrix, don't overthink that. Just think 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. You're going to have a minimum. So maybe your minimum is 4,000 square feet, and then just start ticking it up from there and start playing with it. And none of this stuff's any good if you don't test and measure it. Meaning, if you don't have something like Service Autopilot, where you can then check and see if the jobs are coming in on time, to then see if you need to tweak your matrix, then none of the stuff's any good anyway. So there's more stuff we can show. We show our matrices in GROW Comm, or we've had them up for people, but like I said, it's only so much. I don't want to mislead you. You can't just put this in and then this is going to work for you. Good points. Walk through the customer journey. This is really cool. Another question. I didn't even answer this one. Says you should do a walkthrough of the customer journey for your two locations. We try to keep this as similar as we can between both of these, meaning we want this journey to be the same with our company. We want it to be very similar, because if we start adding, we're in Florida, we're going to add, I'm sure, like satellite locations, or it's just going to grow and grow and grow. And we need to, even if there's not multiple locations, we got to train more and more people to keep this similar. So we try to keep everything very congruent. Now, knowing that the climates are much different, but other than that, it's like when you answer the phone, hi, this is Jacob with Scooters Lawn Care. What can I get you information on? That's the That's the verbiage. That's what everybody hears. The next step, like they follow through in service autopilot, the quoting, the estimate setting, the auto reminders for estimates and appointments, all of that transition is very smooth. Like a mowing client, for example. Other than the services are set up different, like you service year round here, so it's average billing versus weekly billing. The journey for a Mo client is you call or you submit it via email. The office may reach out to you first, or they may just produce your estimate, email it to you, and then follow up. And then is the second you say it's good and you sign on that thing, you can sign on online, you can upload your card, and then we can schedule your service. And it's seamless. What I think is cool about this question is good points on what I'd said on who to hire, and that's where it got asked on the one I talked about hiring non-billable employees. The customer journey in your location is, if you're wanting to grow, like a lot of people watch my stuff because I'm talking about growing all the time, because I think growing, like you see, I don't know if you can see it right there, it says grow or die. It's kind of my deal. Like, it's what I want to do. Like, I would rather fucking die than not grow what I'm doing. It's just what I'm passionate about, because I believe that my purpose to create an amazing life for my family and give my team unlimited opportunity revolves around that. Because if I don't grow, how am I going to do any of that? But with all that being said, if you're going to grow, you need to simplify everything as much as possible. How do we make stuff easier? If you're growing your business, the question you should be asking all the time to your team and to yourself is, okay, so I came up with this new thing I do. Maybe it's my new billing process, my new this, my new that. In Service Autopilot, always check this box, so that's why we use it. Say I'm coming up with a new system to finish the day. And I want to roll the system out. The question I must ask myself is, how does this system work when we have 1,000 employees? Because you always think about where you're at right now. How's this going to work? Oh, this is going to fix all the problems. And that's great. You want to fix those problems. And sometimes you'll even initiate something that's not going to be long-term. But you have to ask questions like that to yourself of, how's this going to work? My team will tell you. They talk about doing something with the Mo clients. I'm like, will it work with 10,000 Mo clients? No? Yeah, then it's not going to be long-term, and that's a Band-Aid, and then we got to figure out the real answer. And that's how it should be with anything. How's that going to work with 1,000 calls coming in the office a day? How's that going to work with, like, don't think about now, think about how big it could be. And then maybe think bigger than it actually could be, because it's not just, it's not just the, hey, I'm 100,000 in sales this year and I'm 500,000 in sales. I've always said, like, I always go back to the lawns. How's it going to work with 5,000 lawns? Because we have 300 or 400, 500 right now. Chris A., I asked that question. Have you looked into other CRMs? Oh, yeah, we are. My wife hates when I look down and read this stuff, but I tried to get it up on the other screen. Couldn't do it. I'm just, this is just me throwing it together. This is testament to, I got a poster in here. Should show you. Progress over perfection. It's really, like, it means everything to me. I don't give a shit about it being perfect. I give a shit about it getting done. Chris, I asked that question. Have you looked at other CRMs other than SAP? Yeah, that's what I think you probably missed that part. I've looked into Aspire. I spent 40 hours. There's a big company that I'm friends with. They probably do like $8 to $12 million in sales. They use Service Autopilot and LMN because LMN's a good tool for landscaping, but it sucks for mowing. So I spent like 40 to 50 hours this year completely building out LMN to find out that I could just do it in Service Autopilot and I could not use that. So LMN, no. I looked at like a little bit of, I had different people reach out to me. Obviously used Jobber, no. Looked at Aspire. To me, growth means we got to touch and talk and, and connect with people. So marketing's huge. And a lot of these platforms didn't have a good way to email market people. So when I saw that Aspire didn't have good email marketing, I was like, dude, I'm not going to go backwards to pay more for a different service. So looked at Aspire. I've heard people talk about stuff like yard books and stuff. I've never looked into it much, so I don't know. I know people that have used it and said it doesn't really compare to what you're using. Service Autopilot's hard because it's so robust that if you don't dig in and become obsessed with it for, spend 40, 80 hours on it and just really grind on it to adopt it, you're going to think it's not that great because you don't understand it, and two, you're using like 5% of it. The main reason people stop using like big robust systems like that are that they're just using like such a small part that it doesn't make sense to them. It saves me a lot of time because I'm using a lot of it. And now, I mean, automations and everything, we're using a lot of it now. Sorry about all the reminders on the calendar. But finally, though, I am looking. I think Service Titan's a good option. It's very expensive, and it's extremely expensive to get the marketing portion of it. I think Service Titan's a beautiful product in the service industry. We've had multiple meetings with them. I'm always trying to learn more. I want to meet with Boss. I think I don't know anything about it. I know people that have went from big companies and switched to Service Autopilot from Boss, so it can't be that crazy different. But those are the two, like for sure, Service Titan. I think there's something there that's gold, and they actually acquired Aspire. So that's really all I can give you. I would point towards Service Titan if you're going to try to ramp up something new, because I think it looks cool. I just don't know how well. I think it'd probably work. If I did only projects, it'd probably be like the king. But since we do so much maintenance, Service Autopilot's super freaking good for doing maintenance. I mean, dude, if you're going to mow lawns, like it's a no-brainer to go with Service Autopilot and help you track all those numbers. So if you got more questions, let me know. Weaver's Lawn Care. Hey Jake, I've sent you DMs. Nice to see you on a live. Hey, yeah, man, dude. If you guys like me doing lives and doing Q&A stuff, I'm cool with doing more of these. You know, I felt bad because I just hadn't put out the content. You know, there was the whole issues with holidays and people getting sick and hospital and everything else, and I just felt like when I don't feel like I'm living up to the expectation of, you know, putting out something that might help somebody, I feel I let myself down, and I feel like I'm letting other people down. So I just knew that I needed to hop on here and shoot something today. So I appreciate you saying thank you. Raptor Turf, how do you determine a marketing budget based on revenue goal? I've always wanted to just have the perfect answer for that. I always said 10 to 15% because I wanted to be extremely, extremely aggressive. But in reality, are a lot of people closer to 4 to 10% and still grow their company really well? Yes. To give you more insight, what you should do is you should look at reading They Ask You Answer by Marcus Sheridan. And you should read that whole book, because that book will show you how to create content doing like what I'm doing right now, and drive down the cost it actually costs to market your business, because you're posing yourself as the professional versus just pay. We do both. We pay, and we pose ourselves as the professional. And that's why we get so many new leads. That's why our company grows. That's why we really push into areas. And your marketing budget's going to be different. Like I know, like Tigran, you know, he is in California. He's never spent that much on, or used to not spend that much money on marketing. And he grows like crazy just because the market, and if you do good work, that's just like each job's so huge. So it's market dependent, and it's just going to be hard to see, man. You're going to need a little time. You're going to have to see how it is. We've probably been somewhere in the 8 to 12% range. I've always like tried to steer up to 15. It's just so freaking aggressive that we never quite hit that number. But man, marketing, if it's working, is almost like you could spend as much as you want. You just have to know it's working. You can't be like, I'm going to go spend $200,000 on marketing and hope. You test and measure, and as things prove to work and you get so much work for it, you could just pay more and more, because if it's working, marketing is supposed to be you pay 1 and get 3 exchange. And if it is working that way, then you can just keep pushing more. There's a lot of facets, though, to your marketing budget, because there's also branding, where branding is going to get you known more as the professional, get you known more as a house name, get you just known. And the ROI on that's going to be much different. So I think that's a good safe range to say somewhere 4 to 12%. And you spend what you can spend and just keep testing. And I would just keep pushing more and more unless I realize it's like, whoa, it doesn't seem like the work is offsetting this. So that would be my long answer for that short question. Chris, I'm going to book some time with you. We've used SAP for 3 years now. We do have projects in mind. Yeah, I mean, if you've used Service Autopilot, that's awesome. Like, I love it. And I'm a pusher. I try to push people to Service Autopilot. I'm friends with people in the sales at Service Autopilot. I'm in with them, but it's only because I believe in it. Like, I use it. I love it. I'm still over hunting for the next best thing all the time. I just know from what I've found and how far we're ingrained into it, nothing else has been good enough to jump ship. Nothing else has been good enough to make the change. Usually when I hear people using other stuff, it's just because they think it's cheaper and they think it's more affordable. And people don't do a time cost analysis at all. They say, oh, well, I get yard books or Jobber for XYZ are free, and therefore that's why I'm going to use it because I'm starting my business. When really free costs more than something that's expensive. You can get it for $0, or you can spend $120 a month. The $0 thing, you save a couple hours, okay? So there's a little bit of extra ROI on that. But over here, this $120 thing, it saves you 10 to 15 hours a month. And now all of a sudden, if the one saved you 2 hours and this saves you 15, let's take the delta of that. So you've got 15, 14, 13. See, I'm only good with the calculator. 13 times, and say you're just worth 50. You're worth way more than 50 because your mower guys should be getting billed at 50 or more than that. So if you're the owner and you're running this thing, you're taking all the risk, you're worth more than that. But we'll just say 50 for the point times 50. So you went to Yard Books for free, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying this example. You went to Yard Books for free because it saved money. Actually, what it did is it cost $650 of your time to go out and grow a business. It fucking sucks. But people look at shit the wrong way. Let's see here. Michael, according to Lawn and Landscape, average marketing spend is 7 to 8%. God, that is crazy low. That is crazy low. I mean, but average. You know, that's great. Who the fuck wants to be average? Marketing, let's go back to that comment. You did say average, right? Average is 7 to 8%. Dude, the average profit of these companies, that's what's really fucking sad. Like, that's really, really low. Like, the average profit, I think, is like 3 or 4%. Like, that's crazy. And there's times where you're not going to have profit because you're growing. But, like, some of these companies, like, average is not what you want to shoot for. Average is not what you want to aim for. You want to be much, much more than average because it's possible. That's why we're spending time together right now. We're trying to get better. We're trying to do more. Weaver, go undercover billionaire. You're starting over with $100. What do you do? Day 1, day 30, day 60, etc. You have adequate equipment. Real talk. What's your first move? $100 from broke. Man, that's a lot. I've never even gave the 100 undercover billionaire thing a thought. What do you do? $100 to broke. I'd hustle like a motherfucker. I mean, I don't need anything. I know I can sell stuff, so I would take. You got to create some kind of income. So if I had no income, I would figure out where I could create income. I'd probably figure out, walk in and sell myself to some place to have some kind of job, to have some kind of money, and ASAP, first thing, and then be trying to figure out how can I offset like a living real quick for a super, super cost-effective living. I'd probably be going in trying to be like a waitress or a waiter or something, and try to be getting a bunch of money really, really fast because you can use sales skills and that. And man, I don't know. I know that like it would initially be about getting your feet, like your footing of getting some money and get some kind of income going, and then immediately going into building some kind of business. For me, since I know lawn and landscape, like, I mean, I guess I don't know, maybe go into that. I don't know. That's a really good question. I need more time to think about that. I know, though, that I could start with nothing now. That's the best thing about having a business. I could have it all taken away. You cannot take what I know. You can't take that, like, dude, I've done all this once. I can do it again. I don't know that how quickly I could create $1 billion or $1 million or whatever on a landscape company from scratch, but with nothing but $100. But I know I could start right back over and go again. And I think that's more powerful than the shows and those things and those ideas. Like watching Grant do what he did on the last one. That's awesome. Seeing somebody expand that way. I'd be starting businesses. I don't know what they'd be, but I'd be getting into them. Another thing that I would do, I'd be getting into I'd be getting into real estate. Like I would be leveraging deals to get involved in houses where I'm not like I get some money coming in, I'd find a house to or find some kind of place to live in, be working 24/7 around the clock, and then I'd be working on getting deals on houses, getting people to go in where I don't put money, but I bring a deal to people and we start rolling houses. Or maybe I'd wholesale, try to work my ass off wholesaling houses. I would be just pecking away at everything, looking for something to stick, looking for something to stick, looking for something to stick. And when you watch the last one, I mean, that's exactly what those people did. You know, they were looking for something to stick. So hope that answers that, man. I feel like I didn't do that justice. That's a damn good question, though. Raptor Turf, what books do you recommend that have helped you along the way in business? Man, the list is so long. I have a list. Let's see if I've got my book list. Recently, The Great Game of Business is freaking amazing. You have to read The Great Game of Business. It is, it's just too good. It's just too good to not read. It's too monumental on how they run that business. I know people that actually do business with that business. Got to read that. A lot of Mike Michalowicz's books I've loved. Profit First and The Pumpkin Plan. That was some OG shit that I read. Like there's a lot of different feelings on Robert Kiyosaki, but I think that his stuff all of it's amazing. Like I love the Rich Dad Poor Dad. I love Fake, I think is what it is, Fake Money. Like I want to learn as much as possible. I want to educate myself. I've learned way more by reading this list of books than I ever did at school. Like my fucking school, like our little Catholic high school that wanted to prepare you to go to college. Man, it sucked. Like I didn't learn shit. It prepared me to know what I didn't want to do, and it prepared me. It gave me some. It just gave me more anger and want to run towards being successful to show that I didn't need that. So let's go down this list. The Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko Willink, awesome book. The Path by Peter. This last name's not right. It's Tony Robbins and Peter something. Financial book. Oh, amazing one. You asked. This, you got to read this. Got to read this. Write it down if you're watching. You have to read this if you haven't. The E-Myth Landscapers Edition by Michael E. Gerber, and that's also got Tony Bass in it. Awesome, awesome book. Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. Another great read. Delivering Happiness. That's I believe the book of the shoe company. Why can't I think of the shoe company? The woman's shoe thing online. Kills me that there's so much stuff on here that I can't even remember. But the way they run their business and they have created that and people didn't think it was going to work, that's awesome. That's a really good book. Rise and Grind by Damon John. Should never ask for the books. Somebody ask another question, get me off this because this could go forever. Start with Why by Simon Sinek. Capital Gains by Chip Gaines was an awesome book. I love that book. Relentless by Tim Grover, another must read. Shoe Dog by Phil Knight, another must read, have to read. Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. I may have already said that. Jump, Steve Harvey. And on top of that, go watch the short YouTube clip from Steve Harvey, Jump. That alone changed your life. The Power of Broke, Damon John. Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I really like that book. Back in the original, like starting up the business, I read a bunch, all Gary Vaynerchuk stuff. I listen to it. I used to do Audible. Now I read like all the time, every day. Traction by Gino Winkman. The Pumpkin Plan. This just goes on forever. I'm going to skim through this. High Performance Habits by Brandon Burchard. Elon Musk by Ashley Vance. That was amazing. The Power of One More, Ed Milet's a rock star. Life Force, Tony Robbins. I told you health's very important. That's an amazing book about health. The Richest Man in Babylon. I'm reading another one right now. Here's next on my list. I'm almost through this. This is Jesse Itzler, awesome. When he first listened to him speak, I didn't think he was the best. Now he's an awesome speaker. Living with a Seal, that was a great book. I don't know that I like him so much, but I am. There's a lot of people that I'm in awe of, because whether they're a good person or not, the things they've created. I don't know if you know from the symbol, that's the symbol for Ignite. But this is Dan Bilzerian's book, The Setup. It's a hefty book. in color. Probably the most expensive book I bought. I think it was like $100 when they first came out. Now it's like 40. But, so that list goes on forever. The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham. But man, I don't want to go too crazy on these books. But so any of that stuff, and just always be hunting for something new, something good. All of that stuff has helped my business because it's helped me grow my mindset. It's helped me educate myself. It's helped me to think differently than I think now. Thinking the same and just knowing what you know isn't going to take you anywhere. You need to expand that thought. The reason that I didn't grow my first business the way this one's grown is my mindset. I didn't think that everything was so unlimited. Now when I look at the world, I realize like, wow, thank the Lord every day that he gave me eyes to see opportunity around every corner, because that's what I see. I see gold here. I see gold there. I didn't used to see that. I was very opportunistic, but I just wasn't the way I am now. And that's all through being around other people, seeing that there's a lot more, seeing how much opportunity there is out there. Okay. Anybody on here? Ask some questions, because I'm probably going to wrap up pretty soon. If you don't have anything else, I might go over a couple more little things right here. Another reminder, if you didn't catch it at the beginning, GROW Comm, somebody asked about that. GROW Comm is going to be opening up within the next couple weeks. And then the event training day, January 20th, here in the Florida office is going to be awesome. That's open to everyone, the public. That's going to be a great event. If you want to grow your company, bring your spouse. There's a deal if you bring a person with you. It's more cost effective. There's going to be a dinner the night before. There's going to be the whole day event. It's going to be all about growing your company. We're going to have some different speakers there. It's going to be a very, very valuable time with a very limited amount of people, which makes it even better, because a smaller group of people, the more intimate it can be and the more one-on-one interaction you can have, making your business better. Okay, here's a good one. This is something I see all the time. People asking about, somebody said, when I say I want to be 30% profitable, can you define that? When I say net profit, it means net profit. And net profit, and 30% is a lofty ass goal. And maybe we don't hit it. Maybe we just get 16, 18, 19, I don't know, 20. But when we set that, that means after all expenses. So your net profit is after everything. It's after you've paid yourself your salary. Like, are you going to take draws out of the profit? Yeah, you probably do. But this is after all the bills are paid, all the employees are paid. You have been paid your salary, which is true net. You're going to have to be paid a fair wage salary. So that's what net is. That's what that means. Put me on the spot again. Let's see, where's this at? Michael, you're asking all the good questions here. I like this. Good price, sales objections. You know, when someone asks about price, it's more guiding yourself into the situation the right way. Now, like, because we've posed ourselves as the expert, we don't get as much stuff about that, and we pre-qualify, so people kind of know what the cost is going to be. And I don't submit estimates. Like, I tell the people when I'm there what it's going to cost. So, because I tell them, it's like, if this makes you feel like, look at me like I've got 8 heads, we're going to hash that out now, and we'll just adjust this. Because just because I heard what you wanted and you gave me the idea, I'm just going to give you we can change this quote a lot, right? So as far as like something that I think is interesting to say is, if you meet somebody and you're starting to talk to them and you're getting their information, and before you even get to price, maybe you've done some pre-qualifying, but you ask them, it's, what matters to you most, price or value? That's a really interesting question, because everybody's always like, oh, a little bit of both. Well, sir, there's a funny thing that happens. With a higher value, there's a higher price. And with a lower price, there's lower value. You can never have a lot of both of them. Like, you can never have a low price, like a lot meaning a low price, with high value. And so, because I always try to determine, and usually I don't really do much of the price rebuttal, because I'm not here to fight. I will push them and I'll say, it's like, I don't sell anything Walmart style. We're not a Walmart company. If you were looking for Walmart, that's not us. We compete on value. And that's where that conversation goes. You say, hey, you looking for price, you looking for value? Because I always ask this to my clients, because I want to know what it is you're looking for, because we can't just give you price. We don't compete on that. We compete on bringing you the most value through having an office, through being able to stand behind our work, being able to take care of problems, all these different things. That's how we bring our value. We don't care about being the most cost effective because it doesn't allow us to have the best employees, the coolest people, the most fun place to work for, which is all me saying value, 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 value to the client. So, yeah, I don't do a bunch of the sales objection rebuttals. What I do know more than doing the rebuttals, you yourself start buying the way you would want someone to buy from you. What do I mean by that? Start not getting 3 fucking proposals for everything. Go online, find a well-reviewed company. When they come out, say yes. Don't worry about it. It is what it is. What are you gonna do? Save a couple $100? Or save half and then hope the job gets done right? This is something that's so funny. What you put out is what you get back. What you put out into the universe is what you get back. So when someone talks to me, like, it's so funny. Like, I had this guy say, "You know how it is. You got to get a few quotes." And I'm like, "No, I don't know how it is. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I always just go with the best reviewed company, and then what they tell me it costs, I accept, and we do the job." So I don't feel, because since I don't shop that way, I don't feel that way, and then I don't approach anything that way. And I believe that it brings the whole deal of what you put out is what you get back, and it brings another level of certainty to you that really ups your game. So I think that there's a lot more on the front end that you can do versus the price objections, because there's a lot of people. It's like, what are you going to do if they want it for nothing? You're not going to be. There's nothing you can do. I mean, there's all the price tools in the world. I want people to come to us because we're professionals. They know the cost, and we've done a good job of marketing that we're professionals and our cost. Like, you know what? Let's go deeper. It's Michael, right? Yeah, Michael. I am so wanting to be ahead of this that, like, go to our website. Look at Scooters Lawn Care Florida. It's not even that well done yet, but it's got pricing. So it's got ranges. Maybe lighting costs this. A landscape typically costs, $8,000 to $30 to $40 or $100, whatever those numbers are. We put numbers out there. I don't want you to call if you don't know what it costs, because a lot of the people, if they're in line and understand the cost, it's usually not that much of a fight, because we win off of the value. And that's what I bank on, bringing the value. If you could focus every day on bringing more and more value, you don't have to fight for anything. It's just you get it, and you become the professional in the area by what I said earlier: read, they ask, you answer, and use those tactics of marketing and becoming a knowledge source for your industry. You're not going to have to worry about stuff like that. So hope that helps. Finally, let's ask one. If anybody has any more questions, ask those, and I'm going to look and see if there's one more thing that intrigues me that I'm going to read here. Value information, share this video in business, watch and learn. This has been fun. We should go live. I should go live more often. I really do like this. Curious, this blood test stuff, man. It's so crazy how many people have asked about the blood test. Okay. I'm not finding anything right off the bat that I like. And I am sorry that it's taking me time. You know what? I just want to talk about this because I think this was fun. This isn't even so much the thing that's questioned. Omaha Landscaping said BTC is going to be your fastest racehorse in the long run. That's Bitcoin. I'm glad to hear you have exposure and love your asset allocation for building wealth. This is something that's really important too. If you're in anything, you're doing anything, you need to be focusing on building your wealth. You need to be focusing on having investments for the long term of stuff that you don't need to steal from, so you can grow your portfolio, so you can build wealth. And then if you want to retire, or you want to just building your war chest of protection you have of financial assets is so huge. This person said, I have one short-term rental, 2 long-term rentals, and that should be enough to retire down the road. Yeah, so like thinking about retirement, like you can create so much with a business that all you got to do is focus on it and think about it. Be thinking about what you should be doing. Be thinking about what you need to put away. Be thinking about what you can invest into. Bitcoin, stock market. I mean, educate yourself. One of those books I said, The Path, that was all about educating yourself. It's gonna that's ultimately going to be what sets you free at some point, or allows you to do exactly what you want to do when you want to do it. So everybody, thanks so much for this time. Again, remember training day, January 20th, dinner the night before, full day of learning and growing your business right here in Cape Coral. Great spending time with you guys. See you later. Peace.